the Chazzinator has gone from a 140 odd squat to a 200 squat, a 120 kilo bench ish to 141, and deadlift from 215 red lights with it because of hitch to 235. Little Pirates mug. Yeah, to 235. I mean, what is that? Some mad. What is that? This is great prep, isn't it? 200 minus 140, so 60 on the squat. 60 on the squat, 20 on the bench. So that's 80, and then another 25. Yeah, so you're looking at like 110 kilos on a total within maybe, must be 4 months. Maybe a bit longer. No time at all is the takeaway. No time at all. 100 plus kilos on total. How? So Chaz started off with 4 days a week. I think 3 squat and 1 deadlift. Really focused on general strength. The first 1 or 2 blocks were just high bar and maybe and pause squats. The bench movements were quite close variants, close grips, touch and goes. The deadlift day, I think, was just deadlifts and then maybe some block pulls and then snatch grip deadlifts or some hamstring work, some specific hamstring work. And then eventually, after I think 8 weeks of that and a big PB total, I think we went into doing squat bench deadlift in 1 day, a squat bench session, squat bench, and then a deadlift and press session. Once I felt that Chaz could recover from more volume, we did that. So we upped the workload again. Now 2 deadlift sessions, threw some bent rows in there, some different exercises. I think Spoto bench was in there now, more close grip, and generally just a harder week to recover from, which I think initially it was a bit of a struggle, but I think he assimilated quite quickly. And then after that, and by the way, all the rep schemes for this was pretty much 6s, 7s, 6s and 5s, pretty much. The idea being, because Chaz is a little newer to the game, the rep scheme is just slightly higher, a little bit less specific, a little bit more general, and because he's been gaining some weight, just sort of to really slap on that muscle mass and sort of benefit from that, which I think has really worked when the lower rep ranges started to come in. Then we started with singles and back off sets on just 1 day a week, and that worked very well. Started doing his competition max in the gym for a smooth single, loads of PRs every Sunday. Seems for PR on a top set, PR on a back off set. That happened for a while. And pause deadlifts. Pause deadlifts were good for his deadlift to really focus on form. High bar, the squat variations were low bar squat now, because now Chaz knows how to low bar squat, a pause squat, and a high bar squat. So quite specific still. Deadlift was a competition deadlift, a pause deadlift, and I believe a bent row. And the bench was like competition bench, maybe a close grip, touch and go, I believe, Spoto bench, an overhead press day, and there was some maybe a competition touch and go, competition bench as well, twice a week. And again, the reps were a little higher on the whole, but did very well from that. Again, the idea being, because it's a little bit newer to the game, just have slightly higher rep ranges, and then just started to phase in the heavier, high percentage stuff when I really felt the form was there, because you don't want to build your house on the quicksand. So with Chaz, it was really a case of building up a good foundation and a good technical base, and then once that was sort of established, really start chucking some weight on the bar, and that's really why the singles came in, and the higher percentage sets, so the RP9 sets. Yeah, so Chaz was sort of running real kind of basic cyclical structure for the like pause squats and stuff during the week. Maybe it'd be like 6 5s or 6 6s one day, slightly lower, like 3 4 sets another day, and then maybe only 2 or 3 sets, and he'd really push the weight on that day. And then that would be one cycle, and that would repeat, and the rep schemes would lower. But ultimately, the thing about Chaz is he's just tried so hard. He's gained some weight. He's gained from, I guess, like 90 to 95. So he's gained like 5 kilos in 4 or 5 months. So a kilo a month. Not that mad. Like, he looks so much bigger. He's piled on so much muscle. I'm sure he's got some stretch marks and stuff to show for it from the growth. Like, he's put on a lot of size. He's worked really hard. But just want to go over like how intense he is. Like on Sundays, especially, any day, but especially Sundays, he's really trying. Like, he's banging his head off that wall, literally. He's got his headphones in. He's screaming. He's shouting. He's giving it. He's giving it everything in the gym, and he's doing his mobility work. He does a warm up and a cool down. But he just tries really hard, and he really pushes it, and he's not afraid. And that's been a big thing for Chaz. He's not afraid. He's not scared. Not scared to load it up. And he's done a very, very good job of adding a lot of muscle mass and adding over 100 kilos to his total in sort of 4, maybe a little bit longer, but really not that long. And I think he's done it through just trying really hard, focusing somewhat on his recovery, and just gaining some weight, which was an option for him as he's sort of a bit of a newer lifter. He could sort of really benefit from adding some size to his frame. He's now, not a 93, he's a 105. Hopefully over time fill that out over this sort of year, and should come together for him. But yeah, he's just trying really hard, and as long as he keeps that up with some intelligent training and sort of focusing on his weak points, and now he's a bit more technical, we can load it up a bit more. So the rep schemes are going to be a little bit lower, I imagine, in the future for him. Right now they're still kind of high. They started off with like 7s, which I don't usually give to that many people. But it worked so well, so why change it? It's worked well. 7, 6s, 5s, like, don't change too much when it's working. Then maybe when it gets a little bit sticky, maybe start changing things. But it's working really well, so don't want to get too far off of what's working good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Recent changes with Chaz, taking out the pause deadlifts because he's got a decent lockout and the starting position's pretty good. It seems to me now that the leg drive off the floor between the sort of shoelaces and the knees are the problem. So we've gone with trap bar deadlifts for that, because we now have a trap bar down at the farm. So he's now doing trap bar deadlifts once a week, which should help the leg drive. So he's sort of doing them for 6s and 5s to start with, and hopefully build up some sort of, some just sort of speed off the floor with that movement, and that should help his deadlift. Squats, nothing's changed because everything's working. Bench, a couple of technical changes, gone to a pin press rather than a spoto, I think. If I remember correctly, I think that was the shout, because the spoto was becoming a little bit more of an overload movement, becoming more of a sort of super maximal movement, just sort of driving the bar back, sometimes not coming down the whole way. So just sort of changed it to a more specific movement, which is a pin press, bring it down, pause it on the pins and driving it back up again. Slightly more taxing, more chest focus. If anyone's ever done a pin press, you know how much your pecs light up doing that. You need to be quite careful on pin press. They are taxing on your pecs. I have had a few little pec tweaks on pin press, or because of pin press, because of how taxing it is. So make sure you keep your pecs healthy, because yeah, you can't do much without these. So anyway, that's sort of what Chaz's been up to. He's doing so well. So hopefully he just continues to sort of gain the weight at a reasonable pace, which he's doing. Focus more on recovery over time, because the recovery will become more of a factor for him. And that's pretty much it. He's really good at doing videos. He's really good at filling his log. He always does his dashboard. He's like just really diligent, and he tries really hard, and he does really well. Videos, he's always asking people for help. He's always doing his mobility stuff. He does a warm up and a cool down, and he just tries really hard. He gets his headphones in for those heavy RPE sets, and he's really trying to go for a PR, and he really wants to see an estimated max go up, and he's really trying. And surprise, surprise, he's doing really well. So with Chaz, the sort of plan is to increase the leg drive off the floor. That's really the big glaring weakness at the moment. Everything else is going along great. He's adding so much muscle mass, and now it's just about time. Time under the bar, and then when things like in the squat and in the bench, when they start to like falter a little bit, we can change tact. But at the moment, it's working really well. So there's no point changing anything. We're just going to keep streaming along, and hopefully with a little bit of weight gain, another couple of kilos, 5 kilos by the end of the year, he could be a monster. He could be, physically look completely different. I mean, he's already looking so much bigger, but yeah, he could be really, really impressive. And to think how long it took me to bench 140 from 120, it took me years, and he did it within 4 or 5 months. Like, hats off, because that took me years. So yeah, intelligent training and working really, really hard. That's the key. Working really hard. Sometimes the best program is just working harder. So for Chaz, that was just like hats off to him. And yeah, he's just running up people in the club, people who train with physically in the gym. He's just running up on them and going to out-title them, because he's just working harder than them. He's putting in that work, and he's not afraid of doing all the sets and doing all the work, and asking for more, and videoing things, and asking if things are okay, and asking if his form's all right. He's a diligent athlete, and I wish him the best, and I hope he continues to just keep putting the weight on and keep putting in the work.